This is Kirby here from Pwn Squad with a new video review of the Nintendo DS Lite. This is the newest addition to the Nintendo handheld family. Just a remake of the DS with some nicer features and a new sleek look. Costs $130. It's a pretty good price. It's cheaper than the original DS was at launch. In the box, we'll open it here. Some nicer packaging with just a little more appealing. You get your user manuals and extra stylus. Of course, you get your AC adapter, which is gray instead of black now. It has the same fold-out style. It uses the same charger as the Game Boy Micro. And we'll move on here to the actual system itself. As you can see, it's very shiny. It looks like kind of some of the newer iPods where it's got the enclosed plastic. The LEDs, of course, have been moved over here by the hinge, which the hinge now seems a lot stronger, more stable. I actually did have the hinge on my old DS break when it was dropped. Here we've got the charger slot. You can see the game slot, wrist strap. And here you've got volume slider, which is nice. This is the Game Boy Advance slot. It comes with a little cover because this GBA slot actually, when you stick a game in there, see it sticks out a little bit. It's not too bad. When you're playing, it won't interfere with anything at all, but it just looks a little weird. I like to keep this in here. And of course you've got your headphone and microphone port. On this side we've got a new storage for the stylus, which is now much thicker and easier to hold, more comfortable, and a slider much like the power switch on the PSP. So we open the system. We can see it's very Nintendo Wii-like controller scheme with the D-pad and the buttons looking a lot like those on the Wii. New position on the start and select buttons. And got the microphone now centered, which is nice for any game that really uses the microphone, and the speakers are a little nicer looking. As we turn it on, you can see it's already a lot brighter. We can change the brightnesses on here. This, you see, you can tell how bright it really is just by that. This is what the original Nintendo DS came standard on, this right here. It's not very bright. Light reflects off it very well, but still you can already see a difference in color. We'll turn it up one more. The reflection isn't as bad, and you can see it's a lot brighter already, and the colors are really starting to come through. This is what the DS Lite comes on out of the box. This is the setting that I've noticed most people prefer. And this is the brightest setting. This is actually the setting I like. I think it makes the colors come through very nice, and it's a little harder for my camera to pick it up, so we'll keep it down on this one. I'll just go through some different games here and show you some footage. On this PictoChat here, still same PictoChat, yeah, fun. Let's turn this on again. I'll just show you a little clip of me playing Mario Kart DS, and the interesting thing is, notice the startup sound on Mario Kart. He says, "Here we go," instead of Yahoo, which was, the sound was changed on the firmware of the Red DS Mario Kart bundle, and my guess is that that was never taken out of the firmware when it was made for the DS Lite. I'll just go through some menus and start a race here. You can notice a lot of really nice color. The screens are very bright, even though this is on the lowest setting. You can see everything just stands out a lot better. It looks a lot nicer. The buttons are much smoother, less harsh on the hand. They're like the buttons on the Game Boy Advance where they're squishy as opposed to being clicky, as some people would say. One thing about the DS and the use of flash cards like this is my SuperCard SD adapter. is that you have to be able to hack your DS to play DS ROM files off of the flash card, and the only way that, well, not the only way, but the easiest way to do that on the original DS was the use of a Wi-Fi Me program, which has been blocked by the newest firmware. So you do have to get a Pass-Me device in order to run DS ROMs, which I do not have yet, but I plan on ordering one. Daytel, the company that makes Action Replay, is actually releasing one. It's only $20. It's the cheapest you're going to find, and I've heard it works very well. So I'll show you some Game Boy Advance playback on this. Some Super Dodgeball. You can see it's much like the difference between the original Game Boy Advance SP and the newer Game Boy Advance SP with the brighter screens. Everything just looks a little nicer. And overall, you can tell it's a much stronger system. Everything looks a lot better. And mainly, most of the flaws within the original Nintendo DS were fixed in the DS Lite. And this has been Kirby with a review of the Nintendo DS Lite. Okay, now we're going to do some comparison between the original DS and the DS Lite. This here is actually my sister's DS. Let's start off with the DS. It's a lot bigger, a little bulkier, harder to carry in the pocket, but the GBA slot does fit in there perfectly. It does use a different charging cable than the DS Lite, as you can see. The DS Lite uses the same cable as the Game Boy Micro does. As I was talking earlier about the buttons on the DS Lite, so you can see the buttons on the DS are a lot more rigid and make a harder clicking noise than those of the DS Lite. The start and select are in a different spot, and the power button is not a little switch on the side, it's just a button here. I'm going to start off. As you can see, the DS Lite screens are a lot brighter, much richer color. DS screens don't look bad, but when compared to the DS Lite is obviously superior. Just a little screen comparison, try some different angles here.